Hello. I am going to break down a short video that I did not that long ago, and I want to talk about the three things that you need to be successful in sales. Let's dig into it. Sales is really about people. So the first thing that you're going to need is just a genuine interest in people. Sometimes it's about actively listening. You were given two ears and one mouth for a reason. So I want you to think of the equation of a conversation, that is what goes into the conversation. I want you to think of it in that format. You should be listening twice as much as you talk. You should be actively listening, not just waiting for your turn to talk. So what you're doing is you're actually, maybe taking some notes, or you're, like thinking about how that relates to you, what this other person is saying, and how that might relate to a story that you heard once or something that you were involved in. So actively listening means that you're actually looking for opportunities to help, you're looking for opportunities to share some interest, and you're looking to really, truly understand. And top tip, if you want to active listen, ask follow-up questions as well. So when someone says that they had a terrible childhood or something like that, say, oh, tell me more about that. Like, what made it so terrible? Where did you grow up? What were your parents like? Where, did you go to school? Those types of things. So make sure that you're asking follow-up questions. The second is to have some empathy and some understanding. So, like empathy isn't where you suddenly try to one-up them and say that your life was harder than theirs or your experience was slightly better than theirs. But empathy is where you can relate without actually having been involved with what happened there. So you're asking that follow-up question of like, well, how did that make you feel? And like, what did that lead to as far as your journey in the current career that you're in, or this, that, or the other? So you want to make sure that you have that. And then the understanding is just giving them the ability to talk. Give them the space that they need to have the conversation. Now in sales, of course, we're not going to be talking about people's lives or their childhood or anything like that unless we're building rapport. But what we are talking about is the problem that they have that your particular widget can fix. And that's what we're really after at the end of the day. We're trying very hard to get to the root of their problem so that we can help them understand how the solution that we have can fix their problems. And tip number 2 is about building systems. You have to have systems and be interested in systems if you are going to be a part of sales, because you're constantly going to be improving those things. So you're going to first, number 1, build a system that works. So do your research, do whatever it is that you have to do, gather from experts, or maybe even the company that you're working for has some examples of systems that work, and you're going to be able to implement those things. Then you need to be able to fine tune this. So in athletics, and especially in shooting, something that I'm very familiar with, what I find is that the best shooters are the one who can make minute changes to their body styles and their body mechanics and make big changes downrange on target. And sales is no different. You have to be able to make small adjustments to your system. You have to be able to explain, this is what we're trying to do, and I didn't get it with this copy, but I got it with that copy. So you need to be able to make small, minute changes to your adjustment. Don't forget to leverage technology as you're doing this. So AI is a huge thing right now, and I talk to it all the time. So you have the ability to actually ask it questions. Maybe tell it what your system is and ask it for capabilities. But there are other technologies that you can leverage as well. You can talk about voicemail systems. You can talk about video systems where you can, photobomb somebody and basically put out a video that goes to their inbox so that it's you actually talking. It's more personal that way. Imagine getting a video in your inbox that says, hey Ted, I wanted to tell you about the solution that we talked about yesterday, and I'm hoping that it's going to fix. Imagine getting that. That's so much more personal than it is to have somebody send an email that says, just following up. So make sure that you're leveraging the technology to the best of your abilities. You may not be able to afford all of the whiz bang at first, but you want to make sure that you're always going in that direction. And the third thing that is super important in sales is understanding that you have weaknesses. It makes sense. We all have them. So look, have a self-assessment. Sit back and say, this is my process for sales, and these are the portions that I know that I'm not necessarily good at. And then run as fast as you can to either find someone else to do it or automate it. It's that simple. So you're at first, especially if you're not working for a large company where you have a big backbone of sales and you have to do all of the work like I have had to do in the past, you're going to have to just slug through it. You're going to have to realize that you're not going to get the most out of it because it's not your best, capability, and you're just going to have to basically just work through it as much as you can. But as fast as you can, you need to go through and get to a point to where you have outsourced that from you in some way, shape, or form. But don't forget about continuous improvement. Just because you're not good at something now doesn't mean that you'll never be good at it. Have you ever met a baby that's good at flat roofing? I don't think so. Because you know that you have to learn things throughout life. You didn't know how to drive a car until you learned, and you didn't know how to type until you learned. So there are always going to be areas for you to improve. If you're not the best cold caller, you just have to do it. You have to keep working on it. Now, I know people don't want to do that because they're uncomfortable with it and they don't want to suck. But you just have to learn to suck less is basically what it boils down to. If you're interested in that, there are plenty of ways to get out there. One of those ways to get out there is that I actually do one-on-one coaching. You can get that through my website, which is linked below. I also have all kinds of training and all kinds of ebooks on there that you can follow up with and you can read, and they're on there for you. So make sure you check out the website below. And those are the 3 things that you can do to try to master sales, and those are the 3 things that you're going to need if you're going to be in sales. So good luck out there, and thank you very much for watching.